Alright fellas, now today we had some pretty huge news. Finally, they announced the main event for UFC 317, being Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira. Now, with this being less than 2 months away, they certainly took their time to announce this event. Yet obviously they were waiting for last weekend to see how the divisions would be looking moving forwards. I'm surprised that Topuria seemingly would take a fight on this later notice, but this will be a real sink or swim moment for him. Is he as good as he keeps saying he is? Is he a generational great? So we need to break down all the news that just came out, as well as how this bout might play out. But just quickly, my name's Cloister, and this channel is your one-stop shop for everything MMA, so make sure to subscribe and I'll always keep you in the loop. Now, to go back a second, prior to last weekend, the lightweight division was cruising along with Islam holding the belt, and we all assumed eventually he was going to try move up to become double champ. But then we got hit with a bit of a curveball after Islam is now vacating his title to move up and challenge JDM. This move came of course after JDM's win over Bilal at UFC 315. We all expected the move up, but we didn't expect him to vacate his title. It seems like at the moment the UFC is actively discouraging these double champ shots. We saw Topuria give up his belt earlier this year, the same as Islam. Diego Lopez stated earlier this year that the UFC doesn't want to facilitate these double champ fights, although Dana responded stating the opposite. Although we've seen a lot of these double champ attempts or callouts recently, and honestly they seem like they're bad for business. When you have these double champ fights, you theoretically put two divisions on hold, and at the moment the UFC can't afford that, and the champs won't make that much of a mega fight to justify it. So what you're seeing is the UFC strip their fighters if they want to move up, or as the UFC puts it, the fighters drop their own belts apparently to move up. You're not really going to see these double champs anymore, at least I don't think. So with that lightweight belt now vacant, the UFC needed a new contender. With Ilia Topuria unable to fight Islam now, he was the clear option. Undefeated and coming off dominant wins over legends like Volkanovski and Holloway, Topuria had of course apparently vacated his featherweight title, although I'm sure he would have loved to keep it, eyeing that move to lightweight. The UFC had promised him that title shot, and with Islam's move, now the path is clear. But you gotta have two opponents to make a fight, and the other one, Charles Oliveira, the former lightweight champion, he's been on a mission to reclaim his title. After a setback against Arman at UFC 300, Oliveira bounced back with a dominant 5-round decision over Michael Chandler at UFC 309. This victory reaffirmed his position as a top contender in the division. So with the lightweight title now up for grabs with two top contenders in the mix, the UFC officially announced that Topuria and Oliveira would face off for the vacant lightweight title at UFC 317. Now, Topuria is of course known for his aggressive striking and unyielding pressure. Transitioning from featherweight, Topuria brings a blend of power and precision that has overwhelmed countless previous opponents. His striking is characterized by sharp combinations and a relentless pace, aiming to break his opponents both physically and mentally. Also, Topuria's background in Greco-Roman wrestling complements his striking, allowing him to dictate the pace and control the distance effectively. His ability to mix strikes with takedowns keeps opponents guessing, making him a real threat. Oliveira, on the other hand, is of course known for his exceptional jiu-jitsu and submission game, holding the record for the most finishes in UFC history. Oliveira's ground game is his primary weapon. He possesses an innate ability to find submissions from whatever position he finds himself in, making him a constant threat once the fight hits the canvas. This fight really presents a classic striker versus grappler scenario. Topuria's aggressive striking and pressure will test Oliveira's ability to close the distance and initiate grappling exchanges. But also Oliveira's grappling prowess will challenge Topuria's takedown defense and ability to maintain control on the feet. For Ilia Topuria, the key to victory lies in maintaining control on the feet, avoiding prolonged grappling exchanges with Oliveira and keeping the pressure on throughout the fight. While Topuria has solid takedown defense, his true advantage comes in his ability to dictate the pace through striking. He needs to be patient, picking his shots off with precision while avoiding unnecessary risks that might lead him to the ground. Topuria's explosiveness can work in his favour, especially if he can land heavy shots early in the fight. Oliveira has been known to struggle with opponents who can match his pace, especially when they can threaten with consistent striking and maintain that distance. By keeping his opponent on that back foot and staying in control of those striking exchanges, Topuria can nullify Oliveira's ground game before it even becomes a factor. a huge aspect for Topuria will be his ability to avoid being submitted if the fight does hit the mat. While his grappling isn't necessarily on Oliveira's level, Topuria has demonstrated solid wrestling and scramble ability. If he can avoid extended grappling sequences, especially from the bottom position, he could wear Oliveira down with pace and power. Topuria's defense against Oliveira's submissions will be crucial in avoiding a mistake that could end the fight for him. For Charles, the path of victory is pretty straightforward. He needs to get the fight to the ground and work his submission game. Now, Oliveira excels at controlling his opponents once they're on the ground, using his guard and flexibility to threaten submissions from nearly any position, as I said earlier. If Oliveira can close that distance and use his striking to kind of get in close, he will likely find opportunities to pull guard or work from top control. His experience and fight IQ does give him a major advantage when it comes to timing and positioning in these grappling exchanges. Like Topuria, he needs to stay patient, not rushing into wild exchanges on the feet where Topuria is dangerous. If Oliveira can weather the early storm and avoid eating too many damaging strikes, he'll eventually find an opportunity to initiate a takedown or clinch, and that's when he can transition to his signature ground game. Now, for my predictions a couple months out, I'd still lean towards Topuria winning this fight. I think it's going to be a battle, but his striking and his age advantage probably does it for him. Topuria's striking is incredibly dangerous, and while Oliveira has proven his toughness, Topuria's relentless pressure will probably force it into a striking exchange at some point that Oliveira just won't want. If Topuria can avoid getting caught in Oliveira's submissions and stay on his feet, he has the power and precision to stop him. But if Oliveira manages to close the distance and get the fight on the mat, Topuria's defensive grappling will be massively tested. And that's where Oliveira's experience and submission skills could shine. Ultimately, I think Topuria's offensive skills and ability to control the pace will just give him that slight edge. But really, you should never count Charles Oliveira out of a fight. But now, I want to hear what you think. What are your thoughts on this fight, as well as who do you think will win? Let me know all your thoughts and predictions in the comments down below. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really does a ton to help the channel. Yet, thanks for watching, fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.